Oh, yeah. Here we go. Step right up. Get ready for the show. I told you, Cino's back. Now, I had a video done on this that I didn't even put out. I just went ahead and destroyed it. I'll say, eliminate that video. Don't even put it out. Because we've learned more information. So I'll just make a whole new, fresh video. Nothing was wrong with the video. I'm just saying it just didn't have a lot of the information that I have today. So rather than milk you guys with two videos, we just make one and get it all out. Now, Mel Truck Tucker. Old Mel Tucker, boy. He was out there hot sticking it. He wanted this woman so bad. He was thirsting for her. But was he a target of a bigger picture? You see, they had the hearing for his sexual harassment case, right? He didn't even show up. Former Michigan State University head coach Mel Tucker. And he had low-level staffers whose job was to plan all of the what you would call the arrangements or visits for the university. This wasn't done just by Mel Tucker. And see, this is what people are not going over. So these guys will call in for the interviews because they're witnesses. You see, Michigan State universities used an outside investigator, and each had been involved in arranging or canceling the campus visits by Brenda Tracy, who was the sexual assault survivor, right? And she filed a complaint against Tucker last December. Now, according to some of her text messages, she had $5 to her name. She didn't have a lot of money. And she was going to universities, basically getting paid, talking to their students, and using this to try to go from university to university. And in one text message to her friend who died later on in a car accident, you know, it was very weird to the family how she was at her friend's car accident. Her friend is fighting for her life. This woman also was like the person that kept her schedule and made plans for her and all these different things of that nature. She also, while she's dying, she's asking for her phone records. She want that phone. And it was like my gosh, they couldn't believe. Like, why is she trying to fight to get the phone records? What is so important that she don't want seen in these phone records? Well, Mel Tucker's lawyers found the text messages, has hundreds of them that basically proves his innocence and prove that she was lying about their relationship. And it also uncovered former NBA player David Stoudemire, who's a married man. Um, I think he's a Georgia State's uh, one of the Hornets or something. I think he's their head coach. That she was also dating him. She was dating a DJ, and then she moved up to him. So she was like, she's come up. Now, the way this thing went about that seems to be crazy is that Tucker canceled Tracy's planned return visit to the campus. And then this is when she was talking about his inappropriate behavior. And he was reported to the university by Tracy after she was refused or they pushed back and canceled her visit. Now, she's saying because she didn't, like his sexual advances, this was the reason why. And Mel was saying that this was consensual for a while. And her text messages to her friend proves it. But they weren't admissible. A judge has decided to uphold her going to court, filing a block on Mel from using her text messages because the text messages wasn't for him. That was between two other parties. So he can't use these text messages that basically exonerates him. But it proves to the rest of the world that she was lying or was very untruthful about her relationship with Mel. Now, she was planning a return visit to the campus before she was terminated. But she said she was punished for not going along with his sexual advances. And by doing that, he pursued her for months romantically. And after hiring her to speak to his players, he pursued to get with her again on phone calls, during which she complained. Her complaint was that he made all these comments and that he pleasured himself without her consent. And because of that, he canceled her training session with the football team, which had been planned for that July. Tucker said he and Tracy had a romantic relationship and that the call was a consensual phone sex call. The cancellation, he said, was the result of a scheduling conflict, claimed that records obtained by the investigation proved to disprove. And this is what's the problem with Mel changing his story. Had he been truthful from the jump, this would have been a different situation for him. But to protect himself, he said that. But as the investigation went on, they realized Mel was lying about that. He wasn't honest about it. None of the three football staffers told the investigators they witnessed anything inappropriate or unusual between them. But, however, one said Tucker had previously given them a different reason for the cancellation that contradicts Mel's story about his own account of what happened. Now, the lady, Alana Alvarado, the one who died in the car accident, that was her booking assistant. She's the one that does all the booking for her. She had provided the investigator with emails and text messages that corroborated aspects of Tracy's versions of the events, right? And refuted aspects of Mel Tucker's thing before she died in the crash in June. So she made sure she sent over all the text messages that would make it look like Mel was, stalking her. So without recordings or eyewitnesses, and these cases are often hinged on third-party recollections of events before these events happened and anything else in question, with circumstantial evidence that can speak to the credibility of the people that's involved. So you got a set of people, as far as they know, who have no reason not to be truthful with the investigator. They ain't got no stake in the outcome. So that's pretty much strong evidence that they're saying is probably accurate. If you look at it, what would they care about it? Now, it was one guy in charge of the calendars and the travel. That was Will Price. And Will Price, he worked for Colorado before he came here. And he had the similar role. And he got hired by, I think, Michigan State um, when he came there. He brought him with him. So Price had arranged for Tracy's visits in 2022. And according to his statements to the investigators, the one she attended and the one that she canceled at the last minute, he had been present the first time Tracy spoke to the team back in 2021, and his recollections of why Tucker canceled the July 2020 visit differed from Tucker's report. Now, whereas Tucker blamed a scheduling conflict with his, with old Tracy, Price, he remembered Tucker saying he didn't want a sexual misconduct training to be the players' first activity when they return back from summer break. He didn't want that to be the first thing they do. Then he said he wanted to reschedule the visit for August, which aligned with, Tracy and Alvarado's recollections. But Tucker told the investigators he had no plans of inviting her back for at least a year. Then he changed the story in a public statement and said he had wanted her to come back in January. So Mel was all over the place as to why, this was going on. Now, her last day at Michigan State was July the 29th, a week after the cancellation. So that was his last day there, was July the 29th, because he was going to get married. So him and his wife, you know, uh, his wife had got a job in Texas. So he ain't talked with Mel Tucker or Tracy since he left. And he don't know if she had came back in August or not. So Ben Mathers, who was there, he said he would have been responsible for the, rescheduling and anything. And he coordinates all the day-to-day operations. So he took over the planning of Tracy's, 2022 visit. And within weeks leading up to it, as Price was on his way out, he and Alvarado discussed the logistics on Zoom. And then the next day, Mathers was at the lake house when he said Tucker texted him and asking if Tracy was coming the following week. Mathers said yes. Tucker asked him to cancel it. Mathers did not ask why, nor did Tucker give him a reason. So Mathers both called both Alvarado and Tracy to apologize and assume that they would reschedule, but his recollection of the discussions about rescheduling differed from theirs. According to Alvarado, the lady who died in the car crash, her booking agent for Tracy, Mathers said on the phone that the team was looking to postpone a few weeks into August. But when Alvarado followed up by email a few days later, she said, after speaking with the coach, we are now looking to set up a visit in January after the season. So, according to the copy of the email included in the investigation report, which was included in July, despite what the email says, Mathers had told the investigator he never actually spoke to Tucker about the reschedule. He said he assumed on his own that January would be ideal and that he did not recall August being discussed. So hours after the interview, he reached back out, and the report showed that when they spoke again, he had not been fully honest, and they said he omitted some, information. So they was like, well, did he use a private cell phone to communicate with him in the interview? And Mathers acknowledged that Tucker regularly used his personal and work phones to text him about work matters. So it's like there's no law against that. So Mathers also said that he initially deleted a text message with Tucker's 4 days after this interview, after they had an interaction that Tucker left him feeling uneasy. So Mathers was in Tampa when Tucker texted him asking him if the team had any outstanding contracts with Tracy. And Mathers said no. Then a week later, on a Friday, Mathers asked Mel Tucker again as he approached him in his office. And he said Tucker did not say why he wanted it, but waited as Mathers rummaged through an old email looking for it and went through the emails looking for it. Ultimately, Mathers found Alvarado's number and texted to Tucker. Mathers deleted the text soon as his own accord because he told the investigators, fearing that it would surface in a public record request. The whole line of questioning was bizarre. He said, it left me with a bad feeling. Mail wanted that phone number, and he deleted that text message because he just knew this didn't sound right. He's just like, there's a bit of concern when someone in position of power is asking you for things that make you feel uncomfortable. He said he thought it to himself, and I'm getting these off my phone. that's what that's what he said. Mathers was like, I'm getting this off my phone. I don't even want this on here because he can see where this is going. Now, while the investigation is going on, they have all these other people, like assistant coaches, are all being interviewed. And a lot of them said they never was told about any rescheduling visits or whatever with Tracy. And they was recalling asking Mathers at the time about the emails and all of these things. And Tracy's name never came up again, he said. Now, Alvarado, who's the booking agent of Tracy, they were best friends for about 20 years. Then, Tracy got into all the activism stuff she was doing during her speaking gigs, but she was doing it, mostly for the money. She got hired doing her speaking engagements. Last June, Alvarado was driving in Maricopa when her car got smashed into. Emergency responders had to use the jaws of life to get her out. And after 2 days, she died in the hospital. And because of that, this whole case was all up in the air. And Alvarado, who took care of all the visits to Michigan State, the 3 that she did, and back in January, she told him 3 months after the first campus visit, Alvarado and her, while they were there, Tracy was telling her that Tucker likes her and it might be a problem. She said Tracy told Tucker had expressed romantic interest in her and it made her feel uncomfortable, right? They discussed matters briefly through text messages and they had a heart to heart talk with Tucker, who agreed nothing could happen between them. And Tracy's glad that things didn't get weird. And she was just letting him know right where she wanted to keep him. Now, following that, Alvarado went to the Michigan State game in spring of 2022 with Tucker. Um, and Tracy, she was an honorary captain of the team, and her nonprofit was featured on the Jumbotron Alvarado said Tucker seemed taken back that Tracy had not come alone as she had on her first visit. Alvarado said Tucker acted closed off at first, but became a bit more open when the three of them went out for dinner late that evening. After the game, Alvarado and Tracy were in her hotel room when Tucker called Tracy. Alvarado could only hear Tracy's end of the conversation. At one point, Tracy turned to her and said, "Should we go somewhere?" Alvarado said, "Okay," thinking that this would go somewhere, like they're going to go somewhere. Then Tracy said into the phone, responding to Tucker, "Me? Just me?" Tucker called Tracy 4 times that night. Her phone record shows. Tracy and Alvarado both told the investigator Tucker suggested multiple locations where he and Tracy could meet in private, including his house. He also asked if there was a back entrance to the hotel. Tracy said that was not a good idea. They did not meet. After the spring game in early May, Alvarado began coordinating with Price to arrange a third visit to the campus. The emails that they got included all the investigation reports. Price suggested on July the 25th that Alvarado confirm this with her records as well. Alvarado said Tracy specifically asked her to join her. Even though Alvarado did not normally attend her speaking engagement. Although Tracy did not say why, Alvarado told the investigator she believed Tracy felt uncomfortable around Tucker. So Alvarado agreed to come. Now, she booked their flights and got the rental car, and she invoiced Michigan State University. Now, in June, the email showed Mathers provided an itinerary for July the 21st that listed him and other football staffers as contacts. This trip would never happen. On the morning of July 22nd, Prince texted Alvarado asking if she and Tracy were still coming that week. Alvarado found that strange. So she told the investigator she and Mathers confirmed the details over the phone days earlier. She said yes, they were. Okay, Prince replied. Mathers called her later that day to cancel, suggesting August instead, Alvarado said. He told her that they had a scheduling conflict a week later. He emailed her back saying that they were looking at January. No one from Michigan State contacted Alvarado again. That was it. Alvarado sent the invoice for $2,050 for her rental car, cancellation fee, and the video materials that they provided in advance as of the date of her interview by the investigators. Tracy said no one had paid. And that was the beginning of the problems. Michigan State did not pay it, and everything started to go to hell. So that's how that was going to that point. Now, back to the text messages. Because a lot of you might be saying, well, what about the text messages? This was what was going on in the investigation. So as the investigation starts to implore, everyone is now seeing we have bigger problems on the horizon because she ended up dying, but she gave all this report before she passed away when they were doing this investigation. So now you have a lot more problems that are presenting itself with these private text messages. But now a restraining order has been filed to block Mel Tucker from releasing these text messages that would present a lot of different angles to look at. Now, the text messages what they detail is a lot of them are different, as she's basically bragging about Mel Tucker liking her and was like, "Oh, Mel, he's not going anywhere either," and she's laughing because she knows she has Mel Tucker wrapped around her finger, but she's loving Damon Stoudemire. Now, allegedly, Damon Stoudemire was with this lady, and that this lady has also been going around to other universities doing the same thing, where she kind of finds the guy that she could mimic to flirt with so she can get close to enough to get herself the platform she needs for her nonprofit so she can go to the universities, and she looks for the ones that are, taken by her physical attributes, and she sits there and plays on them. Now, her best friend, Alon, who passed away tragically in that car accident, was her bestie. And her emails on that phone made it very clear that there were situations out of their own control. So he's not going to participate in the hearings, and Mel is barred from releasing any of the text messages, which I think is a crime. But I knew that this would happen because the text messages were between two other parties and not Mel. And the fact that the woman is deceased, that's going to make it a little harder for Mel to get those text messages. But that what it says is that Tucker and Tracy's relationship wasn't how she described it. Because what she was doing, from my opinion and looking at it, what is actually happening here, what he believes is a shakedown. That's what he was looking at. She's shaking him down. But that wasn't the case. Mel was looking at it like, hey, we're in a relationship. But she was stringing you along until she got what she wants. Long as she's getting what she wants, she'll keep flirting with you. But Damon Stoudemire she was already being occupied while you was buying flowers and dinners and all of this stuff and getting her paid. She was looking at his money, his contract. So she was playing the long game with Mel Tucker from those text messages, counting the man's money, saying he just signed for $95 million, girl. Wow. It's amazing how the text messages reveal a whole different story than what her friend had indicated to the investigators before she passed away. Because now it looks like you're looking at his money and you're looking at him as a mark down the road. But you like kicking it with old Stoudemire. But Mel was like, okay, I see what's going on. You ain't finna run this script on me. I'm out. I know this game. Oh, you think you finna just keep playing me and I'm just gonna keep doing this? Oh, you thought you was coming by today? Not. Cancel that visit. I'm gonna thin her out. So now you're like, oh, wait a minute. I thought I had a planned trip there. Oh no, you thought you was getting another two some grand out of me in the university? No thanks. You ain't giving it up. Good luck. Yeah, you gonna have to get it your own way. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you." And look what happened. And go for all her crap. But Mel, you should know. You are a black man who signed a $95 million contract. One of the highest contracts in all of college football. You know they don't want a brother to have it. And you gonna try to mess around on your wife. So of course, to them, this is a violation of the morality clause. It's a scandal for the university. They're not happy about it. The university is the university is hot. Everybody's hot right now. But Mel's stupid thing was getting involved with this woman. You gotta know she don't come before the job. You violated a main sacred thing. You flying this woman out, doing weirdo activity on the phone, and risking your money. Like she didn't know how much you had. As she felt she was being ostracized and that Mel was pushing her in a box, she decided to act out in a way to say Mel was attacking her. Right? Now, more than that, her allegations had made Mel had to talk with his lawyers and they issued out a statement. And he came flat out and said Brenda Tracy's allegations of harassment are completely false. The proceedings initiated by Mrs. Tracy or Miss Tracy are devoid of any semblance of fairness for a matter of this importance. And the university's hearing schedule for October the 5th and 6th is so flawed that there's no other opportunity for the truth to come out. That is why I share some truth with you now. She said, well, he said, rather, I helped bring Miss Tracy to the campus in the summer of 2021 because I support our mission of sexual misconduct prevention. This single presentation was her only paid engagement with the university. We developed a mutual friendship that grew into an intimate adult relationship. At this point, my wife and I have been estranged for a long time. Miss Tracy and I engaged in dozens of calls throughout fall of 2021 and winter of 2022, many of which she initiated and which occurred late at night. We both talked about sorts of intimate, private matters. She told me that I could trust her, and I proceeded to do just that. I was absolutely unaware of the previous negative comments that she made about the iconic MSU coaches and then President uh, Engler, MCU in general, and even more recent criticism of Coach Harbaugh that I've learned about during this investigation. The 1,200 page of the investigation material that Mrs. Tracy released to the media contains a number of important facts that any fair minded person would want to know in evaluating the situation. Even the investigator hired by the university found that we had a personal relationship and that we shared deeply personal and private information with each other. Miss Tracy encouraged our personal relationship by inviting and accepting gifts from me. During a they say during the investigation, Miss Tracy admitted requesting and accepting my gifts of expensive athletic shoes, a $200 Venmo payment, a personal contribution to her nonprofit. Not only did she accept those gifts, but she had to provide me with the shoe size, the address to receive the shoes, and her Venmo ID to receive the money. Yes, I did have a late night intimate conversation with Miss Tracy in April of 2022. Again, as even Miss Tracy's statement to the investigator confirms, this conversation had nothing to do with the university and was outside the scope of the title of any university. Now, he said, by the way, the press reports that this investigation is going on. This is inaccurate. The university admitted there is no title. Was it Title 11 jurisdiction? So the investigation of my private life was regulated to a policy violation. While I am saddened by Ms. Tracy's disclosure of the sensitive nature of the call, let me be perfectly clear. It was an entirely mutual, private event between two adults living at opposite ends of the country. She initiated the discussion that night, sent me a provocative picture of the two of us, suggesting that we may look like what we may look like without clothes. And never once during the 36 minutes did she object in any matter, which much less hang up the phone. Following the call, it was not until 4 months later, only after Miss Tracy's next paid presentation was postponed, and only after I complained to her that she and her assistants were spreading rumors about my marriage, that she even told her therapist, best friend, or attorney that she was offended by the call. In fact, she gave me every indication that everything was fine. She sent me a happy Father's Day 2 months later after the call and repeatedly expressed a desire to return to MSU, telling my assistants that she had a close, let me see, where's relationship with me. Okay. Also, contrary to her allegations, I never canceled any presentation. Given a personal change and scheduling conflict as football season approached, we merely postponed it into January 2023. She chose to file a complaint instead of proceeding with the training. The investigation has not been fair or unbiased. I can only conclude that there is an alternative motive designed to terminate my contract based on some factors such as a desire to avoid any Nasser taint or race or gender. The scheduled hearing for October the 5th and 6th is so ridiculously flawed and is designed to arrive at the truth. For example, in the Zoom hearing, neither Miss Tracy nor either of her witnesses will be required to testify under oath or penalty or perjury. We cannot he said we cannot present or offer any substantial evidence of innocence. There is no opening statement, no closing argument, or any opportunity to explain the case. The hearing process was obviously designed for student infractions, not to address personal and private acts between adults in which disclosure of intimate details impact one's reputation and career. I have no intentions of allowing Miss Tracy's character assassination to go unaddressed rather. Miss Tracy's attorney told us from the very beginning that I should not lose my job over her allegations, but it would take a lot of money to make it go away. Her twisting our personal relationship months after it concluded is designed to revive her career and destroy my life. This is all precipitated by her greed. One of the most absurd allegations by Mr. Tracy is that if our relationship and association facts went public, only she would be harmed, not me. As the world can see, quite the opposite is true. I have been ripped from the team I love without any meaningful opportunity to tell my side of the story other than this press release. I'm incredibly proud of the outstanding group of men on the team, and my heart aches to be on that sideline. I ask anyone to consider carefully the undisputed facts outlined in the reserved judgment until the full truth comes out. So you can tell from her text messages, greed is the need. And she's setting these people up for the big haul. So when you start looking at these text messages, it goes all the way against everything. When you see her say, Tucker signed his contract, I can't even wrap my brain around 95 million. Can you imagine around 700K going into your bank account every month? Every month, we're going to make it happen. I'm going to ask him to finance the doc part of it, marketing materials that Miss Tracy wanted for her nonprofit organization. He'll do it. That was her thing. They were saying, he'll do it. I'm going to ask him to finance the doc part of it. She was after his money. It's clear. The text messages revealed. This isn't a case of, oh no, he's doing this. I was a victim. I was so harassed. But Mel, you got to know the situation. You got to know you're a black coach in this position. Going through this situation, you almost have to vet these women before you get to know them. You got to hire a private detective to look into these people because this is the reason why. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. And he just told you why he wasn't going to show up to the hearing. Because look at what they're going to do to him at the hearing. They're going to railroad this man. So the university also has another plan. Now, word around the campfire is that they were trying to get out of the contract because now they want to hire former disgraced coach Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer has been rumored to be wanting to come to Michigan State after his debacle and his sexual harassment morality issue that he had when he was in Jacksonville. You would think that was a red flag when he was at the bar with some fans. That when he went to the NFL, all of this would be stopped and ignored. But no, they were right back at it. So shows you how the world works, don't it? Bizarre. Real bizarre. So if that's the case, they're willing to look at bringing in Urban Meyer to be the head coach of Michigan State. Then this might have been their plan to get out of this contract so that they could hire the coach they wanted to get now because Urban's available. So think about that. So if I get any more information, I'll let you guys know. And from that point, we are done. Don't forget to subscribe to the page. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life, Kwame Brown Bus Life 2.0. Damn D Beef, Ticket TV, The Dreamers Pro. Welcome to HD with the two eyes TV. Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez. One Crack News, and that should cover a lot of people. Mondo Black TV. Yep. And Angela Stanton King. 78 Sports TV. Damn, it's so many people. Everybody. All right, I'm out.